Demonstrations were held in Paris, Zurich, Helsinki, Melbourne and even Spain, with protesters demanding justice and denouncing terrorism. Meanwhile, in London, tensions flared outside the Pakistan embassy when a Pakistani army officer was caught on camera, that's right, caught on camera, making a threatening gesture towards Indian protesters. The April 22 attack, launched by terror group Lashkar-e-Taiba's terror proxy group, is among the deadliest seen in Jammu and Kashmir in recent years. In a major escalation, Pakistani troops have violated the ceasefire along the line of control for the fourth consecutive night. Now, this time targeting the Poonch sector for the very first time. The Indian Army, meanwhile, has said that Pakistani posts initiated unprovoked small arms fire late last night, while Indian forces were responding swiftly and effectively. Now, this spike in hostilities comes just days after the deadly terror attack in Pahalgam, where at least 26 innocent lives were snuffed out. It's an attack linked to a Pakistani-based terror group Lashkar-e-Taiba's terror proxy, the TRF. Meanwhile, diplomatic ties between India and Pakistan have deteriorated sharply, with New Delhi suspending key agreements and Islamabad retaliating by freezing all bilateral pacts. Now, this includes the Simla agreement as well. Tensions, meanwhile, continue to rise both on the ground and diplomatically as investigations into the Pahalgam attack intensify further. PM Modi was today briefed by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on India's security preparedness with a sharp focus on Kashmir. Now, the meeting held at the Prime Minister's residence lasted for around 40 minutes and it was also attended by NSA Ajit Doval. Now, this high-level discussion follows the deadly terror attack in Pahalgam, and it also comes a day after Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan updated the Defence Minister on countermeasures being taken against Pakistan. Meanwhile, earlier, an all-party meeting was also chaired by the Defence Minister, where he discussed the national response. India has already announced several strong steps against Pakistan. These include suspending the Indus Water Treaty and sealing the Atari land border crossing. Meanwhile, my colleague Aishwarya joins us for the latest. Aishwarya, can you bring our viewers up to date with the meetings and what's happening in New Delhi right now?
Well, what we know so far is that it is Defence Minister of India, Rajnath Singh, who briefed Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The meeting lasted for almost 40 minutes. This meeting just came after the CDS of the three armed forces met Defence Minister Rajnath Singh yesterday, and it was him who briefed about the recent developments taking place in Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, it was NSA Ajit Doval also who met External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar yesterday, and after that it is Rajnath Singh who briefed about the directions that had been given to the armed forces deployed in the Jammu and Kashmir region. Remember, for the last 4 days, there has been a ceasefire violation by the Pakistani troops along with the line of control, and soon after that it is the Indian army who had responded in a swift and effective manner, and there has been deployment of armed forces in the regions along with the line of control as well, and there had been certain measures that had been taken after Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that there will be an unimaginable action against terrorism. Now, this meeting, which lasted for 40 minutes, it was a closed-door meeting, and this very sensitive issue that has been discussed among the top ministers, top officials of the country. The Indian government is in a view that what time and what place is something that the top level has to decide, of the top administration has to decide of the country, and certainly in all of those parameters, the meetings are currently chaired in the national capital.
Thank you so much for keeping us up to date with the latest, Aishwarya. Now, moving on, in Canada, at least 11 people have been killed and dozens more injured after a car, in fact, rammed into a crowd at a Filipino cultural festival in Vancouver. For our viewers just joining in, meanwhile, in Canada, at least 11 people have been killed and dozens more injured after a car rammed into a crowd at a Filipino cultural festival in Vancouver. Police has said that a 30-year-old suspect with a history of mental health issues is now in custody. They have ruled out terrorism as a motive. Meanwhile, the attack occurred during Lapu-Lapu Day celebrations, an event honoring a Filipino national hero. The Filipino community, meanwhile, one of the largest immigrant groups in British Columbia, has been left deeply shaken. Authorities are continuing to investigate the suspect's background and the circumstances leading to the deadly attack. Meanwhile, as the Canada elections getting up, here's a closer look at the Liberal candidate Mark Carney.
Once better known in financial circles than political ones, Mark Carney is now at the centre of Canada's political future, leading the Liberal Party to become Canada's 25th Prime Minister. Carney took the baton from Justin Trudeau at a moment of political uncertainty and global tension. With President Trump's repeated threats related to trade and even annexation, Canada's defence, many now believe, could rest on Carney's shoulders. Born in the Northwest Territories, raised in Edmonton, he went on to become the governor of the Bank of Canada during the 2008 crisis. In 2013, he became the first non-Brit to head the Bank of England and later steering the UK through Brexit. But Carney wasn't always destined for politics. He aligned with the Liberal Party in 2021, just as Trudeau's popularity began to fall. When offered the finance minister post in 2023, he declined. This move triggered internal crisis, and within months, Trudeau stepped aside. Carney's campaign is focused on fixing the economy, shielding Canada from Trump's trade threats, and stabilizing a fractured political climate. When Trump hinted at annexing Canada, Carney's viral comeback, "We find you attractive, but we are not moving in with you," struck a chord. His international credentials give him credibility in navigating economic turbulence. But critics argue he spent more time leading foreign institutions than serving Canada. As Canada decides, whoever is the Prime Minister next will have to deal with the volatile US President, among other challenges. With Ridhima Kedia, NDTV World.
Now my colleague Maha Siddiqui gets you this very special report hours ahead of the voting in Canada.
A slim lead that Liberal Party now has shows that the Conservatives have closed in the last week of the election campaign. CBC News poll tracker is giving a weighted average of the opinion polls now and suggests that there is only a 2 percentage point lead that the Liberals hold. Remember, the Liberals were running almost 20 points ahead at some time during the campaign, but before that, it was the Conservatives that were ahead for almost a year in opinion polls, having taken a lead of almost 20 points over the Liberals. But things flipped once 20th January arrived and Donald Trump took over, and the annexation threat as well as the economic coercion threats that Canada faced changed the game for the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party is now, as I pointed out, as per the weighted average opinion polls, only 2 points ahead. But the two major provinces that bring in the highest number of seats in the parliament, that is Ontario and Quebec, almost 200 seats between those provinces, 122 in Ontario and 78 in Quebec. Both these provinces are still showing the Liberal Party to be in the lead, and therefore it appears that this will really, if at all, be a clincher for the Liberal Party, these two provinces that send the maximum number of parliamentarians, really. The issue that dominated the election campaign was Donald Trump and the United States. And that is where things have flipped for the Conservatives. They could not pivot their campaign that they had been going on for almost 1 year, because they were prepared for elections anytime, considering the weak position that the former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was in. They were banking heavily on domestic issues like inflation, like the housing crisis.
Well, the Liberals may be in the lead, but the election is far from being called. Here's a very special profiler on Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre.
A country in crisis, a generation locked out of home ownership, a cost of living that spiraled out of control, and one man who promised a reset.
We need a new conservative government for a change that will axe taxes, greenlight construction of homes, mines, pipelines, LNG plants, bring home our jobs so that we can reinforce our economic fortress against the Americans.
Pierre Poilievre, once the outsider, now at the heart of Canada's political reckoning. A populist firebrand who built his campaign on common sense and a sharp rejection of what he called Trudeau-era authoritarian socialism. Just a year before his election win, Poilievre was thrown out of Parliament for calling Justin Trudeau a wacko. He called it straight talk. Critics called it divisive, dangerous even. On the campaign trail, he relentlessly targeted the Liberals, blaming them for what he sees as a weakened economy.
Mr. Carney, you claim that you want our country to respond with strength, but after the last decade, half of which time you've been Justin Trudeau's economic advisor, our economy is weaker than ever before.
Labeled Trump-light by critics, Poilievre has drawn comparisons to the US president. Comparisons he firmly rejects. When Donald Trump suggested Canada becomes the 51st state and impose tariffs, Poilievre hit back.
The message to President Trump should be to knock it off. Now is not a time for weakness. Now is not a time to continue on with the failures that got us into this place of dependency. Now is the time to take back control and relaunch our economy so that we can confront the President's unjustified threats and tariffs in a position of strength.
From backing the Freedom Convoy to pledging the biggest crackdown on crime in Canadian history, Poilievre has promised sweeping reforms. His vow to scrap Canada's carbon pricing framework has alarmed climate advocates. His wife, Anaida, came to Canada as a child refugee. And while Poilievre speaks of integration over identity, his immigration policy is directly linked to housing supply and affordability. For his supporters, he is the antidote to liberal elitism. For his critics, a hardliner cloaked in pragmatism. As Canada decides, the world watches. With Ridhima Kedia, NDTV World.
Meanwhile, across the border in his first 100 days back in office, President Donald Trump has set a radical course, reshaping global policies in unprecedented ways, to say the least. Now, from launching a tariff war to alienating U.S. allies, his America First approach has shaken the world order that U.S. helped build after the Second World War, that is. Now, critics are warning of lasting damage to international relations, with some countries even saying closer ties to China are possible. Meanwhile, Trump insists that his actions are, in fact, in the nation's best interests. His unpredictable stance raises questions about America's future role on the global stage. For sure, the fallout, meanwhile, is already being felt, and the world watches closely as Trump's policies continue to evolve. Joining me now is Gauri Dwivedi. Gauri, 100 days of Trump government, another 2 days left. Now, what are the major hits and misses that essentially define these 100 days of Trump 2.0?
Arjun, very tumultuous, eventful 100 days of the Trump administration. A fair and a very elaborate scorecard, so to say, for President Trump, given the fact that he came out with over 130 executive orders touching upon every aspect of American life, from justice to education to immigration to, of course, issues related to tariffs, economy, so on and so forth. If one were to really talk about his biggest hits, one would be the fact that a lot of people give him credit for the fact that he did open up those lines of communication position when it came to the Russia-Ukraine issue. It's nowhere close to his own 24-hour deadlines that he himself had set, where he said 52 times that he's going to end the war in less than 24 hours. That didn't happen. That's one of his biggest misses so far. But the fact that those communication lines started is something that a lot of people feel is his biggest hit. The other thing, it's not yet a hit or a miss, but again, something that has brought the economy at the forefront of how Donald Trump will really evaluate all global relationships in any part of the world. It will be viewed through the lens of economic relationships and how it has impacted positively the American economy, and which is why on day 72 of his 100-day tenure, he came out with those Liberation Day tariffs that really rattled the world, global economy and investors. Since then, there's been a 90-day pause. A lot of people may think that he's retreated, but his supporters would think that this is the perfect shock and awe approach that Donald Trump is known for. That is an action-oriented president who wants to address everything from illegal immigration to tariffs, all of which were on his campaign promises, and he's really putting forth and addressing issues that he feels his electorate, his voter, feels more strongly about. And in fact, this report that we're going to play out now, Arjun, is really going to highlight some of those issues in greater detail.
US President Donald Trump has stormed back onto the global stage with a chaotic and controversial first 100 days. His leadership thus far has been defined by punishing tariffs, fierce immigration crackdowns, and bold moves that have challenged international norms.
And we're going to make America great again.
Under his America First agenda, Trump is reshaping US foreign policy in ways in which global partners are growing increasingly wary, unsure of just how far the US president is willing to go. At the center of his agenda is a full-scale trade war. Trump argues the US has been exploited for decades and is now taking action, imposing tariffs that have jolted global markets, dragged down the dollar, and sparked warnings of a possible recession. But his trade first is just one part of a broader shift. Trump has taken a sharp turn on Ukraine, which led to a heated Oval Office clash with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
This war would have been over.
Trump's approach to Russia has raised concerns for Kyiv and Europe regarding loss of territory in exchange for better ties with Putin. The EU is on edge too. Trump's ongoing criticism of NATO, accusing its allies of not pulling their weight, has strained transatlantic relations and cast doubt on America's reliability as a security partner. Adding to the chaos, Trump has floated radical territorial ambitions, threatening to annex Canada, seize control of Greenland and Gaza, reclaim the Panama Canal, and even having renamed the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. Meanwhile, his decision to dismantle US aid has disrupted humanitarian efforts worldwide. Trump's tumultuous first 100 days in office has witnessed a greater focus on addressing the China challenge.
You've been my friend for a long time, and congratulations on having done a great job. Thank you.
For India, the Trump administration is continuing the Biden-era focus on New Delhi and its role in Asia and the world. In a shifting global landscape, America First may have hit some of the traditional positions of American foreign policy, except for New Delhi. With Samia Afsar, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharp's this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
Remember those nights we didn't take off our makeup? Our skin does. Lucky I've got this new night serum then.
New No. 7 Future Renew Night Serum with Night Active Peptidology works with your skin to reverse visible signs of skin damage while you sleep. Save £10 on new No. 7 Future Renew Night Serum.
Love that.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
At Amazon, we offer term time working to our employees. So when they're on a school break, you can take one too.
Protect what matters to you with Simply Safe Home Security. Get our Which Best Buy rated starter pack from under £200. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
We all love a bargain, like these flatmates who switched to Vodafone and are now paying less for their full fibre broadband, which means they can still stream 2 shows at the same time. But for less. Still gaming with mates, but for less. Reliable full fibre broadband for less from Vodafone.
We know travel can be confusing. That's why I use travelup.com. Compare and book over 100 airlines and thousands of hotels. And while you're away, TravelUp has you covered. Get flight updates on delays and cancellations in a way that suits you. TravelUp provides this for over 100 airlines. So there's no need to have multiple travel apps on your phone. Book now on travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. TravelUp. Flights, hotels, holidays.
Welcome back. You're watching the World Report on NDTV. In more stories, in fact, in Canada, at least 11 people have been killed and dozens more injured. Now, this after a car rammed into a crowd at a Filipino cultural festival in Vancouver. Police has said that a 30-year-old suspect with a history of mental health issues nonetheless is now in custody. They have ruled out terrorism as a motive, however. The attack actually occurred during the Lapu-Lapu Day celebrations. It's an event honoring a Filipino national hero. The Filipino community, one of the largest immigrant groups in British Columbia, in fact, has been left deeply shaken by this horrific incident over the weekend. Authorities, meanwhile, are continuing to investigate the suspect's background and also the circumstances leading to this deadly attack. In Iran, anger is mounting after a massive explosion at a Shahid Raji port killed at least 40 people and injured over 1,000 others. Fires, meanwhile, are still burning. Now, this as toxic smoke engulfs the area. Early reports suggest improperly stored rocket fuel may have very well triggered this blast. Meanwhile, President Pezeshkian has ordered an investigation, but many Iranians are still blaming government incompetence. With nearly 80% of Iran's imports routed through the port, concerns are rising over potential shortages. Global leaders, including Russia's President Putin, have offered support as the emergency efforts continue. Over in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is demanding that Iran's entire nuclear infrastructure be dismantled, even as US-Iran indirect talks continue in Oman. Netanyahu has said only a complete rollback, similar to Libya's 2003 agreement, would be acceptable to Israel. Not only this, he has also warned that Israel may act alone against Iran's nuclear facilities if necessary. Meanwhile, President Trump has reportedly cautioned against military action for now. Israel remains firm that Iran must never develop nuclear weapons. And in a fresh twist to Ukraine's war, US President Donald Trump has claimed that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky may be willing to cede Crimea to Russia as part of a peace deal. Now, Trump, speaking after a brief meeting with Zelensky at the Vatican, suggested that a ceasefire could very well be reached within weeks. Kiev, on its part, however, has repeatedly rejected any territorial concessions. Germany from Europe has warned against a deal that could be seen as a capitulation. Trump, meanwhile, has also blamed Ukraine's NATO ambitions for triggering the war, while details of the latest US plan have yet to be fully disclosed. So that's all we have for you in this Monday edition. Take care and have a wonderful day.
Love that.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. Like, I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like, if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
Magic family moments deserve the perfect setting. A stylish awning from House is the ideal addition to your outdoor space. Available in a range of colours and finishes, and with the option of integrated lighting and heating, you can enjoy your outdoor space for even longer. Now that is magic. House awnings, made for life.
I urgently need to ask for your help on behalf of animals at risk right now.
With the pandemic came a surge in pet ownership. And sadly, we're now seeing a serious rise in neglect, cruelty, and abuse. Our services are being stretched to the limit. To make matters worse, our costs are soaring too. But we refuse to let animals suffer. So please, act now to help rescue the growing number of animals who've never needed us more. Please call or text the number on screen now to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. In one of the toughest times we have ever experienced, your gift will make all the difference to animals. You could help provide more life-saving treatment, food, shelter, and the loving care that many have never known.
We know there are millions of you who, like us, care deeply and won't stand by while animals are suffering.
We have to reach those trapped in a life of abuse and neglect before it's too late. Because for many, the RSPCA is their only hope. But we can only come to the rescue with the support of people like you. So please, will you help us be there no matter what? Call 0800 313 4392 or text RSPCA to 78866 to start your monthly gift today. Thank you.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
A very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV's very special coverage of 100 days of Trump's administration that will start, that in fact starts today. 100 hours of non-stop coverage of the 100 days that have really shaken up the world. I'm Gauri Dwivedi, and over the course of the next 30 minutes, we'll first talk about the big hits and misses of the 100 days of Trump 2.0. And also the big focus today in this episode will be on foreign policy, the changes that Trump 2.0 has made when it comes to America's foreign policy, from Russia to Iran to China to Ukraine. We'll cover all of that. But first up, we talk about, in just 100 days, President Trump has redrawn the map of US foreign policy, fueling trade wars, challenging NATO, and even threatening territorial claims from Gaza to Greenland. As global alliances fracture and tensions flare, we take a look at the chaos, or some would say the consequences, of Donald Trump's bold return to power. Next up, big hits and misses of Donald Trump's 100 days in power. Let's put that up for you viewers. The graphics that are now on your screens. The big hits as far as Trump 2.0. Well, he did get the two sides talking, didn't he? That was the big thing that he made in terms of the change. Initiated talks when it came to Russia and Ukraine, a war that had been going on for almost 3 years, and at least the two sides are now willing to create some sort of a peace deal. Next up, the other big hit of Donald Trump's administration was the fact that he did secure the border. Illegal immigration has been his big plank, and something that his voters, his supporters feel that he acted upon. Now the illegal immigration through the southern border has all but stopped, something that is a big hit in President's scorecard. Quickly, let's now take a look at the other aspect, which is that there's also been a huge fillip when it comes to the US-based investment plans. There's now global companies looking at coming back to America, producing more. The whole Make in America campaign has now got a big hit and a big fillip with President Trump's policies. We'll talk on that in a bit. But the fact is, American companies want to come back to America. Let's take a look at some of the misses that are there as far as President Trump's scorecard is concerned. Signalgate, one of the big